You're at a river and you want to do some long exposure photography. So you go into your camera bag, you take out your actual physical ND filter of the appropriate strength, you put it on the front of your camera lens and you take an exposure that is, say, half a second long. Then, without using that actual physical ND filter, on your OM system camera, you go into the menus, you activate Live ND, and you set up another exposure that is, again, half a second long. When you get home onto your computer and you look at these two pictures side by side, how does the water look between them in both of these exposures? Are they the same? Does Live ND give as good a result as a real ND filter? That's what I want to find out in this video. My name is Wayne Robertson and I'm a landscape and wildlife photographer based in Scotland. I've been using my OM1 Mark II camera now for around 2 to 3 months, I think it is, and I've really been enjoying it. I'm really impressed with the camera. And I knew before purchase that OM system include a number of what I think they call computational modes or computational photography. And one of those is Live ND, and what this feature is meant to do is simulate the effects of using an actual physical ND filter on your camera lens. So for example, on my OM1 Mark II, and I think this will vary on other OM system cameras depending on the model you have, but there are a number of different strengths of ND filter available. On my camera you begin at ND2, which is a one-stop ND filter, and you can go all the way up in one-stop increments to an ND128, which is a 7-stop ND filter. And what's really been intriguing me and running through my mind over the last few weeks is getting a chance to try this out. And what I want to really concentrate on in this video is not all the technical data behind how the camera does this and so on, but the actual final results. If I take a shot with my real ND filter and compare it to Live ND, does it look roughly the same? Are there any issues? And that's what we're going to find out in this video. Over autumn, I was really pleased to set aside a bit of time and do some good testing of the Live ND feature available from OM System. This was because it's a feature I was keen to use, but I really needed to know, would it work well and would I be happy with the results? So moving down the line in the future, if I was photographing at the coast or by a river, perhaps a waterfall, whatever it is, I wanted to know in advance I could rely on Live ND, or alternatively, would I need to still bring and use my own ND filters to get the result that I wanted. So I did quite a bit of testing, and I don't want to waste too much of your time showing you perhaps say 20 images, because across all my testing the results were completely consistent. So I'm just going to concentrate on 2 images. And I want to say also, don't judge the quality of these images, because I'm taking out quite big crops of the scene that I was photographing. because for the purpose of this video I really want to concentrate on the water. That was the moving part of the image, and that is where I want to compare the effects of live ND against a real ND filter. That's the important part that I want to concentrate on. However, later in the video I will show you some full images that I've captured with live ND so you can see the results for yourself. But let's take a closer look at these images. The first important point I would like to make before having a look at these images is that, say I was at a river using a real ND filter and I was going for a, say, half-second exposure, and I took 10 images. I'm not expecting, even though I'm using the same settings all the time, for the water to look identical across 10 images. Of course it's going to be slightly different image to image, so I'm not looking for completely 100% identical results between live ND and an ND filter. And the other thing is, just in regard to the two images that we're about to take a look at, they are both 0.4 second exposures, and they both use a 3-stop and ND8 filter. So we've got that in the real ND filters versus the 3-stop in the OM system menus. So let's take a look at these and see how they compare. I've got them in front of me now. So if I put both up on screen for you to have a look at, I'm sure looking at these that at first glance you will see they look incredibly similar. And without me putting up the name to show you which is which, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell which is took by a real ND filter or the live ND in the menus. I want to say these are raw files. I've not edited them. They are crops, as I mentioned. I've not edited them to my taste, and there may be slight colour differences because of the fact that one of them is using a physical ND filter. So if we have a look at these, I'm sure you'll agree they are very similar. So for a start, if we look at how the water comes in at the top of the image, it looks quite similar. And moving over to the right, that little curved section, again the flow of the water is incredibly similar. In the middle, that little sort of lump of water, it looks nigh on identical. And if we go over to the left of that, again the structure, the texture of the water, it looks incredibly similar. Also moving down a little bit and over against the rocks at the right hand side, it looks very, very close. So I would say in that situation it would be almost impossible, it would be impossible in fact, to tell which was live ND and which was an actual real ND filter. Moving on to the next image, and this was captured at a section of river in which the water was moving much quicker. So it was coming over a drop, it was crashing off the rocks at both sides, so I would never expect two identical images. But having a look at these, again, I'm sure you'll agree they are incredibly similar, and it would be impossible to tell which one was taken with live ND. So if we look at the top and just the overall flow of the water as it comes in from the top, it's very similar. If you look over at the left side, how you can almost see through to a little bit of rock underneath and how the water comes off that at an angle, again incredibly similar. And then over to the right there's a diagonal section coming in, again incredibly similar. Down at the bottom left, or near the bottom left, there's a little section there where the water is flowing and you can see the streaks. And to my eye, there are obviously differences, as I've explained. You'll never get two identical images, but the results are incredibly similar. So to me, I think this is fantastic for my photography moving forward. What I would like to do now is show you 4 images, complete edited images, that I have captured using live ND on my OM1 Mark II. So you can have a look at the effects and see what you think for yourself. As I said, I've only been using my camera for 2 to 3 months, and I've only done this testing very recently, so I don't have, unfortunately, 20 shots to show you with live ND that are actual photographs that I've taken as opposed to test shots. But these 4 sample images I'm sure will give you an idea of how live ND looks. I've had a good look around these images and my test images. I can't see any problems with them. I was curious, would I see anything? I think the camera is taking a number of different exposures to create this effect. Would I see any issues or anything caused by that? No, everyone that I've captured myself so far has looked fantastic. So I'll show you those 4 images. Just briefly before that, I want to just alert you to the OM System Winter Cashback offer. This is a fantastic opportunity to buy perhaps a great gift for someone or a gift for yourself at Christmas. You can get some great deals on OM System gear, both camera bodies and lenses, and indeed some kits as well with body and lens. There's a lot of potential to save yourself a good amount of money, a few £100s. And this offer is running through until 6th of January 2026. So if you're interested in that, you've perhaps been considering the purchase of some OM System gear, have a look in the description of this video. There will be an affiliate link which will take you to the official OM System website and the page which contains all the information that you need. But for now, let's have a look at these images. I hope you enjoyed seeing those 4 images that I captured recently on my OM1 Mark II using Live ND. I was using different strengths of Live ND based on the image that I showed you. And I think they look great, just like they would have been captured with an actual physical ND filter. I've looked all across them, I can't see any issues, any problems, same as I could in my test images. So I'm really pleased with that. Could Live ND replace physical ND filters for everyone? I think that's a tough question to answer. For some people, it will definitely be a yes. For some people, it'll definitely be a no. Some people may just like using real physical filters. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think on some different OM System cameras, the Live ND strengths that are available will differ from my camera. So I can go up to a 7-stop filter, but I think on some other models you perhaps can't go as strong as that. So that may be an issue for some people. For me, if I was wanting to use, say, a 10-stop filter, that's not available. However, I could combine, say, one of my own actual ND filters and then a live ND filter to get the strength that I wanted. So that would be an option as well. And that could be something that's really useful for a lot of people. So I think it's a fantastic feature. How you feel about it will depend on your own usage scenarios. I'd like to go over what I consider to be a few potential benefits for me using Live ND within my OM System camera's menu. There may be some things that I forget, but I definitely feel there are some benefits for me if I'm able to use Live ND instead of real ND filters. The first one that comes to mind is that it's something less to carry, so a bit less weight and a bit less space in my camera bag. Number 2 would be that because I don't actually have a physical filter on the end of my lens, in theory the Live ND should produce sharper, better quality images, because extra glass in front of your lens can degrade image quality. The next thing would be that using Live ND, I won't get any of the potential color casts or tints associated with some ND filters. they can certainly introduce that, even if it's quite minor, to your images. The next thing is just the speed of use. I can go into my camera's menu system and activate one of these ND filters incredibly quickly. You can assign a button to activate them. I think some of the OM system cameras actually have a computational photography button on them, which gives you really quick access to these. Versus having to go into your camera bag, that can be a real pain, and get them onto your camera, which can take time. The next thing which I think is great about the live NDs available within my camera is that there are more of them. There is everything from a 1-stop to a 7-stop live ND filter. I don't own that range of filters. And if, for example, I was starting with a 3-stop, taking a few images, reviewing them, and I thought, no, I want a slightly longer exposure to get the look of the water that I want, it's just a case of going into my camera's menu system, and I can do that very quickly. However, if I was using actual real ND filters, I may have to go into a filter case, perhaps back into my camera bag, take filters off, put other ones on, and so on. It's just a bit more time and hassle, so I really think that's fantastic. And the last thing that I think is a strong benefit for me is the ability to keep my lens hood on. I think that can be really useful if it's raining or for a number of other reasons, with flare and so on. So if you're using actual physical ND filters, you may have a filter holder on the front of your lens, so you have to take off the lens hood. Or even if you're using circular screw-on filters, it's common to buy a larger size to help with or eliminate vignetting on certain lenses, and that means you can't put on a lens hood. So there may be other reasons. Those are the main ones that spring into my mind at this point, but definitely a lot of advantages to using live ND. As I mentioned earlier, I've been using my OM system camera for almost 3 months now, and I'm really glad that I got round to testing out live ND. Based on my results, I'm really pleased with it. I think the results are fantastic, and moving forward for my landscape photography, wherever possible, I'm going to use live ND instead of physical, real actual ND filters. I think for me, I can see the benefits in live ND for my photography. Now, if you've got an OM system camera, one that you've owned for much longer than me, and you've a lot of experience using live ND, I'd love to know in the comments down below this video, what do you think of it? Do you use it exclusively, or do you still prefer to use actual ND filters, or do you use a bit of both? I think it would make for really interesting reading to know what you think of it, how you use it, and the reasons why. So do let me know in the comments section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. But for now, I'll say goodbye. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video, perhaps found the test results interesting, and hopefully I'll see you in my next one.